So my voice is clear, right?
Yes, ma'am, clear.
So today I can present from my slide, means from my laptop. Let's try that for once. Okay, please answer me some questions till that. Yes, let's wipe my. Otherwise, you can see my slide. Yes. Now, please answer me. What is the windpipe known as in the chat box? Go for corrected spellings.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Hmm. How many answers are there? Only two. Please reply, everybody. Otherwise, you'll not understand or you will not remember the answers. Reply fast. This is very basic question. Now, please reply fast. Which which lobe of sorry describe the lobes of lungs, means which lung is having which lobe. Left lung is having how many lungs have lobe? Okay. Go. So now visible. Screen visible.
I'm not seeing.
No, ma'am, not visible.
No, turn over from this. Okay. How many protecting lungs? Rib. Going to start. Okay, let me share my screen. So, so Uh, we will do some here gaseous exchange. We have done this graph, right? So today we will start from gaseous exchange. The diffusion of gases from an area of higher concentration to an area of lower concentration, especially the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between organism and its environment. So what is gaseous exchange? I think we have already discussed this concept so many times, right? This is the um, exchange of gases from higher concentration to lower concentration, as oxygen is concentrated highly in alveoli when we are inhaling, and low it is concentrated low in capillaries. That is why highly concentrated oxygen will diffuse to capillaries as per the diffusion process. So they will get balanced. And the same thing in case of carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide in capillaries are highly concentrated in comparison with alveoli. So, the highly concentrated carbon dioxide will diffuse to alveoli as per getting the balance. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
same
Clear.
thing in yes, and it was the example of external respiration. And the same thing will happen in case of internal respiration when blood is reaching to each and every cell. Next, the exchange of gases also occur between blood and tissues. Same thing, the internal respiration we are talking about here. O2 and CO2 are exchanged in these sites by simple diffusion. So, diffusion is the process, diffusion and osmosis. These are two processes, and I hope you know these two concepts, osmosis and diffusion. Yes.
No, ma'am. Not that much clear. Only we heard this word. Now we are
Okay.
means that.
Okay, these are very simple concepts, osmosis and diffusion. Uh, they are the processes where uh, high concentration to low concentration get balanced. Means very popular example of raisins, kismis. When we put raisins in water, they get swelled up, right? So why they get swelled up? Because the high concentration of sugar inside kismis get balanced with the outer outer water in which those raisins are put. Means the sugar from kismis get out from the semi-permeable membrane of raisins, and they are mixed with water. So, like this only, our oxygen and carbon dioxide, so and the water from outside get into the raisins, right? So they get swelled up, and the same this only happens when there is a unbalanced um, unbalanced creature in between them, like raisins having high concentration of sugar but less concentration of water. So they get balanced. Raisins released sugar to water, and water took into the raisins, and they get swelled up. uh, Same thing here also. And also when we are doing cleansing in yogic practices, the same concept has been adapted. Osmotic pressure in raisins, the osmotic pressure is high because solutions was not isotonic. Isotonic means the same pressure where nothing can be osmolarized or diffused, means balanced solution. Like uh, if you put raisins into a similar sugar mix water, which is having the similar kind of ingredients or similar concentration. The concentration is the main. So the concentration is the main. So when it is unbalanced, they will try to balance themselves. But when it is balanced already, no one will absorb nothing. Like raisin is absorbing water because raisin having lack of water inside it, and water is absorbing sugar from raisin because sugar is having lack of water is having lack of sugar. But when they are balanced, then they will not exchange anything. The same concept is being adapted in yogic cleansing practices. We intake lukewarm saline water, right? For cleansing practices like Vaman Dhoti or Laghu Shankh Prakshalan or Vastra Dhoti, anything, Dand Dhoti, Neti, we use lukewarm saline water. Why? To regulate osmotic pressure, right? Otherwise, what will happen if we don't use salty water? Then our body will absorb those water. And when we are adding a bit of salt and the water is lukewarm, then it is getting balanced with our internal body. That is why our body will not absorb that water and it will easily pass away. It will cleanse our pathway, body pathway, and it will release totally out. Our body will not absorb that water. But if we use more salt, then what happens? What may happen if we use more amount of salt and then what is needed? Then what can happen?
Ma'am, our small intestine will absorb this sodium more, then we will feel harm.
Yes, your answer is right in this perspective. Like our body will absorb those salt. Not only small intestine, in case of neti, jal neti, it's very you can experiment that these thing in a small portion of your body, that is neti. So if you put a bit extra of salt, then you can realize in your hand only, external body only. Just take a bit of more salt and put it on your hand. You feel that your skin is getting shrink. Why? The external, I'm sorry, the water concentrated solution with salt, and body is less concentrated in compared to that water. So the concentrated solution will absorb the water from body, Okay. If we drink more concentrated solution, like if we drink more salt in that water, then what will happen? The water from our body will be absorbed by that solution, because the higher concentration one, the means our body is having higher concentration of water in that case. So water will go to that solution to balance that. So we will be dehydrated. Okay. So that is why isotonic solution is used. Isotonic means balanced. Isotonic solution is used for cleansing. Not hypertonic, neither hypertonic nor hypotonic. Means neither our neither less salt nor more salt. If less salt is there, then what will happen? If less salt is used, then what will happen?
Ma'am, cleansing will not done properly.
Why? What will happen when we are using more salt? Then the salty water will absorb the water from our body. And if we are using less salt, then what will happen?
Then means if we take less, then concentration also lower. Then water will not absorb this salty, I think.
Okay, just understand the concept. If we use more salt in the solution, then for balancing that solution, the solution will absorb more water present in our body. And if we use less salt, then our body will absorb the water from that solution for balancing, because water will be permitted, or water is easy to transfer for semi permeable membrane, that is our body membrane. Okay, so if we use less salt, then our body is having higher concentration of salt and lower concentration of water. So for balancing, our body will absorb the water. Like for example, if we are performing neti and we have not used proper amount of salt, it is less in that solution, then what will happen? Our nasal cavity will absorb that water and our nasal cavity will swellen. It will swellen up. But in the opposite case, if we are using more amount of salt, then our nasal cavity will shrink, because the saline water solution is absorbing the water from nasal cavity. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
But not properly.
Yes, ma'am. I will go through this recording once again. How much I will do.
Just go through osmosis and diffusion in YouTube. Okay, you will
Ma'am,
get the
that
concept.
that
Yes.
kismis process I understood. That you said that resins how it's sold up when we wet in the water. That process I got it, but this process little bit out. If I will go through again recording, I think it will
You
be
will
clear.
understand it by your own self. Just go through the osmosis and diffusion processes. in the YouTube, you will understand properly. And I think it's important to know about osmosis and diffusion to everyone. Okay. So yes, by simple diffusion means oxygen will go from higher concentration to lower concentration, and also in case of carbon dioxide will go from higher concentration to lower concentration. So this is the main funda. So it happens in external respiration as well as in internal respiration. So gas exchange at the respiratory membrane and in the tissue is a continuous and ongoing process. Yes, every time, each and every time it is going on. The respiratory membrane is made up of alveoli and capillary walls. Okay, and the respiratory membrane is very thin, so diffusion occurs quickly. So the membrane between alveoli and capillary walls are very thin. So it happens very quickly, very quickly. Alveoli are the basic unit of gas exchange. Alveoli are bunches of tiny air sacs inside the lungs. We've already seen the picture of alveoli, right? Where it is? Oh, yeah, this one. You can see here. These are the bunches of alveoli. You can see like bunches of grapes. And here how capillaries are covering alveoli. And the wall between alveoli and capillaries are very thin. That is why diffusion process takes place very quickly. So, um, when breathe in, they fill with air. Means when we are breathing in, these alveoli are filled with air. Alveoli are covered in tiny capillaries. Gases can pass through thin walls of each alveoli or capillary. We already know all these things. Next is external respiration. Exchange of gases between blood and alveoli. We already know these things, external and internal respiration. Exchange of gases between blood, means capillaries and alveoli. Oxygen movement into blood. Air entering the lungs contain more oxygen and less carbon dioxide than blood that flows into in the pulmonary capillaries. Oxygen moves by diffusion towards the area of lower concentration. Yes, it is the same as diffusion. Oxygen is higher concentrated in alveoli and lower concentrated in capillary. That is why moving from alveoli to capillary as per simple diffusion. Pulmonary capillary blood gains oxygen. Here we will read this thing in circulatory system, but get the concept a little bit like pulmonary artery is carrying uh, oxygenated blood from lungs to heart. Okay, so yes, pulmonary artery, no, pulmonary vein. Sorry, I was wrong. Pulmonary vein is carrying oxygenated blood from lungs to heart. So carbon dioxide movement out of the blood, blood returning from tissues has higher concentration of carbon dioxide than air in the alveoli. Same thing as we have discussed in oxygen. Higher concentration of carbon dioxide in capillaries than alveoli. So pulmonary capillary blood gives up carbon dioxide. Blood leaving the lungs is oxygen rich and carbon dioxide poor. So blood which is leaving the lung to heart is now oxygen rich and carbon dioxide poor. Now here in this picture you can see properly how the, let me check the pencil. Yes. Yes. In this picture, you can see, like, from this side, you can see, um, capillary is flowing from this side, like, the deoxygenated blood here is getting, coming from this side. You can see it is a bit blue colored, that is depicting less oxygen and more carbon dioxide. Hmm, yes. So this is capillary and this is alveoli. Okay. So capillary is containing deoxygenated blood. Now, how the color is getting changed? You can see how the color is getting changed as the red blood cells are getting more oxygen. They are turning into pure red. You can see here the red blood cells are getting oxygenated, and how the color is changing, and they are turning into pure red. So here you in detail you can see this is capillary and this is alveolar membrane. This one is alveolar membrane and this one is capillary. Right. So these two in combination is known as respiratory membrane. Okay. And there is always a fluid inside alveoli. You can see this layer of fluid depicted by blue colored. That is surfactant fluid. It is always present in um, alveoli. So this is the details of capillary and alveoli. You can see here, and oxygen here in this portion. Oxygen is getting diffused into red blood cell, and carbon dioxide is diffused into alveoli. So this is happening throughout the alveoli, and till the blood is leaving alveoli portion, then they are more much more oxygenated than the earlier. Okay. Next, oxygen diffusing from alveoli into blood and CO2 from blood into alveoli. Same thing. Inside red blood cells, oxygen attached to hemoglobin. Now, this is one important line where oxygen attaches in red blood cell. So, oxygen get attached with hemoglobin present in red blood cell. Okay. A small amount is carried dissolved in plasma. A very, very small amount is dissolved in plasma. Carbon dioxide can dissolve in plasma and about 70% and 70% forms bicarbonate ions. Okay. Means carbon dioxide is more in plasma, so they produce bicarbonate ions. This is of no use here. Don't be so stressed about this line. So some carbon dioxide can bind to hemoglobin for transport, deoxyhemoglobin. So some carbon dioxide can bind to hemoglobin for transport. So don't get confused with these lines. Now, internal respiration, tissue gas exchange. You already know these things. Exchange of gases between blood and body cells. An opposite reaction to what occurs in lungs. Carbon dioxide diffuses with tissue to blood. Oxygen diffuses from blood to tissue. So this is the complete picture of body. What happens in lungs is stored in this portion. Okay. And what happens in heart is stored in this portion, and what happens in total body. So by seeing this picture, you can also get a clear idea about circulatory system too. Let me take the pencil. Yes. It's green color, green color. Now, here in this picture, you can see heart clearly. So, heart is having 4 chambers. So, these lower 2 chambers are known as ventricle, and upper 2 chambers are known as atrium. So, uh, from from the whole body, blood is coming by this vein or vena cava, right? The main vein of body. Means yes, which is collecting the blood from whole body, and it is the vein is entering to right atrium. Here you can see the vein is coming to right atrium, and from right atrium the blood is getting transferred to right ventricle. Okay, the you can see, consider this portion as whole body, and from whole body blood is getting collected to the main vein, and the vein is bringing the deoxygenated blood which is being collected from whole body to right atrium. Now from right atrium, that blood will come to right ventricle here. Now from right ventricle, the blood is going to this this artery. What is the name of this artery? This is pulmonary artery. So don't confuse. Like, I hope you have get the concept of artery and vein as per oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. It's not like that. Like, I think you have known, as per the concept, like arteries carry oxygenated blood and veins carry deoxygenated blood. The concept is not like that. The blood vessels which are collecting the blood and coming to heart is known as vein, and those blood vessels which is collecting blood from heart and reaching the whole body, those vessels are artery. Means um, those those blood vessels which are taking blood away from heart, those are arteries. Those blood vessels which are taking blood away from heart, those are arteries. Okay, so yes, any question?
No, ma'am, clear.
No. Okay, so in this case, uh, pulmonary artery pulmonary artery is carrying deoxygenated blood to lungs. Here you can see this picture. This pulmonary artery is taking deoxygenated blood from right ventricle, and it is reaching to lungs for getting purified or for getting oxygenated. Okay. Now in lungs, the blood is getting oxygenated, and after getting oxygenated, these pure blood or oxygenated blood coming to right atrium, okay, through pulmonary. blood in whole body. Means in body, generally arteries are carrying oxygenated blood and veins are carrying deoxygenated blood. But in case of pulmonary artery and pulmonary vein, it is vice versa. Because the concept of artery is letting out blood from heart. So pulmonary artery is carrying deoxygenated blood and pulmonary vein is carrying oxygenated blood. So pulmonary vein now carrying oxygenated blood to right atrium. From right atrium, the oxygenated blood is coming to right ventricle. Now from right ventricle, the oxygenated blood is pumped for means from right ventricle, sorry, from left ventricle. Sorry, I'm very sorry. So oxygenated blood is coming from lungs by pulmonary vein to left atrium. So from left atrium it is ventricle.
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, your voice is so much cracking. Can get it, ma'am.
Is it okay now? Hello?
Let's see, ma'am.
Is
You
it okay
talk.
now?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Ma'am.
Okay. So what I was talking about, mm, let's get the concept once again. Yes. So our vena cava is collecting deoxygenated blood from body and it is coming to right atrium. Yes. Now there. So vena cava is collecting deoxygenated blood from body and it is coming to right atrium. Okay. Now from right atrium blood is coming to right ventricle. From right ventricle it is going to lungs through pulmonary artery. Now from lungs the blood is getting oxygenated and now oxygenated blood is coming to left atrium through pulmonary vein. So oxygenated blood is coming to left atrium by pulmonary vein. Now from left atrium it is coming to left ventricle. And the final pumping of blood is done by left ventricle and from left ventricle the blood is going out throughout the whole body. Circulation is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this was the concept I was trying to tell you and it has been described in this picture. And I hope you got the concept of pulmonary artery and pulmonary vein. Means artery and vein, the concept of artery and vein. Arteries are those blood vessels which are letting out blood from heart. Okay, those blood vessels which are taking out blood from heart, those are arteries. So and throughout the body arteries are carrying oxygenated blood, but in case of pulmonary artery only it is carrying deoxygenated blood, and in case of pulmonary vein it is carrying oxygenated blood. So this is the end of respiratory system. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, upright your spine, add up Namaskar Mudra in front of your chest. Inhale deep and long and start the prayer. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Rub your palms. Put those palms on your facial muscles. Feel the warmth, the energy, and open your eyes with a smile. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.